Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Totally You Today, Tuesday. I'm Megan, and I'm in the boutique of the Novita Spa Medical Rejuvenation Clinic, and we're talking about taking that first step. Taking that first step to whatever it may be. That first step could be just saying, you know what, I need to do something. I need to make a change. I need to join a group. I need to get out of my own way. I need to start a new eating program. I need to exercise. It's take action. Take action. So we all have stories, and stories are part of us. And I've been thinking about where do I begin? And with this and with these stories, so to speak, of taking action and taking that first step. And I want to share a story about that. I was a young woman. I had just I married and had my first child, and this is in the early 70s. And I had these big dreams about being in Manhattan and in the fashion industry, in the cosmetic industry, but really more fashion at that time. I went to college for fashion merchandising, and I was working in Lord & Taylor in their buyer's training program. And it just, the commute was too far. Everything was just not working out what I thought should be. And so we then moved to Connecticut, to Ridgefield, Connecticut. And I, as I said, this was the early 70s, and you might say I was depressed. I knew no one. My husband worked in White Plains, which was about an hour plus away, and we had one car. It wasn't a carpool, sort of car sometimes, but my dream of being in the fashion industry, beauty industry, was just not coming to play. And I basically, I'm working on a book, and this is one of the chapters, Get Off the Couch. And I was so just mucked and mired in, what do I do? How do I change this? I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I could have been depressed, because by the God-given, innate DNA, I am a kind of putting the step before the step and looking at things. But I didn't see a way out. I really didn't. And so I basically, one day it was in the grocery store, and looked at or purchased the local paper, and then from there I met people and just started joining women's groups. I was a lot younger than a lot of people, but I started getting out, and then that confidence started in making friends. And that confidence led to the next step and the next step. And one went down to Bloomingdale's in Stamford, and I applied for a job. And that job, when I interviewed for a job, just a basic sales job, they saw my academic background and my training at Lord & Taylor in the buyer's training program, and they offered me a job to co-manage the Biba counter. And Biba, if you watched Bohemian Rhapsody movie, Freddie Mercury's love, Mary, worked at Biba. So you might remember that she was in that boutique and she dressed him up with a tie and so forth. But that was Biba, and she was a big deal on Carnaby Street in the 60s with the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and so forth. So there was a real Biba. And this was her cosmetic line, and Bloomingdale's took it in. So they asked me if I wanted to be involved, which I was like thrilled. And so what was interesting about it, though, is they marketed it not on the main floor cosmetic department, but in the junior department. So in Bloomingdale, Stamford, it was in the main corridor, and I was there, and they had outfits for us. We were trained from that. That was really my first makeup artistry training through Biba. And this was the introduction to darker colors, because before that, in the 60s and the 50s, women wore pastels, lipstick and maybe red lipstick, but certainly, not shadows and the like, and certainly not dark plum and maroons and the browns and that type of thing. So I was trained by Biba's team, and so I worked in Bloomingdale's with the Biba group. and we had bell bottoms and ruffled shirts, and of course my hair was big at that time, long and kind of wavy, and so it was the beginning of what I'm doing today. But it was taking that first step, getting off the couch, and then meeting people and getting involved in local and groups and activities and playing tennis and getting to know gals that just motivated me and encouraged me to be me and to go and take that next step. So then the Bloomingdales and Biba, and one day I remember very clearly, it was the holiday time, and we were in the, right outside the junior department, and I would, just greet people and say, come on over, let me do, a makeover for you. And I was there doing that, and I said to myself, someday, I'm going to create a cosmetic line. So someday, and I was probably all of 23, 24, and someday, and that resonated with me and was in my spirit for all those years. And every step of the way that I took built to the next step and the next step and the next step. So take that first step. No matter how small, it was getting off the couch. It was going down and buying that paper and looking at activities of what was going on in that town and getting out of my own way that started all of these next steps. So, to be continued. And I hope that resonated with someone, but again, it really matters not. I was a young woman, but I shared yesterday my guest, Nancy, who is retired, and she's interfacing with people our age, so to speak, and my age, and that people are in a different point of their life and rethinking their lives, and how does this look? How does this look for the next, 30, 40 years? But just think it through, go within, and just pay attention to those inner voices of guiding you to what to do. So I look forward to sharing with you. I have a surprise on Thursday. I'm not going to tell you right now, but it's going to be a surprise location, surprise guest, surprise on Thursday of Totally You Today Thursday. Look forward to seeing you then, and be blessed.